Now, for his reaction on President Joe Biden's surprise visit to the Ukraine, let's bring in former White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer. Sean, welcome. You're critical of Biden's trip that he's just taken overnight to Ukraine. Why is that?
Well, I think we have a tragedy here in the United States in Ohio where a train derailed and is contaminating the soil, the air, the water. Residents there didn't see a federal official for 2 weeks. This is a president who loves to take off to every photo op that he can do. And here are people of Ohio clearly struggling, and this is a real environmental concern for someone who professes to care about the environment. And I'm just wondering why he's able to plan for months a trip to Kyiv when we can't get him down to our own border and we can't get him to a state that's had a tragedy and a train derailment of hazardous chemicals that is potentially causing severe health issues to its population.
Joe Biden has just had his physical examination. Do you think there's been a different treatment by the media of Biden's physical compared to when Trump had his?
Oh, there's no question about it. When President Trump had his physical, his doctor at the time, Dr. Ronnie Jackson, went out to the White House briefing room and sat there for over an hour answering all the questions that they could throw at him about the particular test and the results that had come out. CNN even sent a medical doctor to question him about some of those results. This time, the White House put out a very vague statement saying that he had a straightforward medical exam, to which I don't know what that means, because when you have a medical exam, either it's a good one or a bad one or something's wrong or everything's good. To say that it was straightforward really doesn't tell you much. For a man that is 80 years old, which is the oldest president that the United States has ever had, and not have a lot more examination of his physical and mental well-being is a huge, huge letdown to the American people who need to know that their president is fit to serve and not just have a doctor write fit to serve on a letter that's handed out to the press corps.
And that's the media failing as well, like CNN letting down the American people.
There's no question about it. I think the media coverage and accountability of this administration is an absolute travesty and a disappointment to journalism writ large. The idea that this administration gets away with, one, taking questions on a regular basis from the folks in the media, and two, that the media doesn't do a better job of demanding accountability and transparency from this administration, whether it's on policy actions or national security issues like the balloon floating across the continental United States that was sent by China, or the president's health, are absolute travesties for the profession of journalism, that these folks sit there on a daily basis and nod their heads with whatever talking points the White House regurgitates and sends out.
Sean, what about the outrageous comment by CNN's Don Lemon that Nikki Haley is not in her prime because she's 51?
Look, I think that Don Lemon should keep his comments to himself. I'm surprised the two female co-hosts didn't punch him when he said that. It was outrageous. It's inappropriate. And I think it also is nonsensical. The Constitution of the United States makes it clear that you have to be 35 years old. If Don thinks that after 50, you're not in your prime anymore, that would leave a 15-year window for any female to be a two-term president of 8 years. It's a stupid comment, and it just shows you how far CNN's come when something like that occurs and no one takes it up for some sort of disciplinary issue. So I think at best it was stupid.
Well, do you think he should be disciplined for it or apologize?
I'm not a huge fan of what we call cancel culture, but at the same time, had that been any conservative that made a similar comment about a liberal, there would be no question that they probably would have lost their job. So do I think so? Absolutely. Don, this isn't Don's first rodeo with stupidity. He has done this on multiple occasions. He lost his primetime show. If anyone's not in their prime, it's literally Don Lemon, who had a 9 o'clock primetime show and was pushed down to the morning show.
Who would you like to see as the Republican president nominee, Trump or DeSantis?
Great question. Look, right now I'll say what I've always said. I am a Republican Party loyalist. I will always support the nominee. I live in the state of Virginia. We vote relatively late, meaning that somebody's going to probably decide for the most part before I get to choose. I have voted for and supported every Republican nominee since I was 18 years old, and I'll continue to do that.
You're active on Twitter. How are you finding it under Elon Musk? Has it changed?
That's a great question. I've obviously noticed some changes on Twitter since Elon has taken it over. I think it has a long way to go. There's some algorithm issues that still need to get tweaked. But I think the idea of people getting banned and not having any recourse has somewhat subsided. So now there's a way to at least call it out and say, I don't know why I'm in the Twitter jail, but let me out. And Elon and his team are much more responsive than they ever have been in the past. So, I've operated most of my adult life since I got on Twitter. And I think I literally got a notice that I celebrated my quote, Twitter birthday, 13th birthday the other day. And this is the first time that we've had an algorithm and a group of people running Twitter that weren't hostile.
Do you still speak to Trump, by the way, Sean? Are you still in contact?
I do, yes. I was with him last Monday.